dream of finding buried treasure or a mysterious envelope filled with cash. While most of us never realize these dreams, several individuals have made some astonishing discoveries that made them rich. Today we will cover several lucky findings that changed people's lives forever. Stick around for the final entry because it is absolutely wild. Number 1. Boxes filled with money. Several years ago, an artist from Utah purchased a new home. He was performing some minor renovations to the home and cleaning out some old junk, but he had no idea what he was about to discover. As he was moving into the tool shop on the property, he noticed a small strip of carpet that was jutting out from the ceiling. He tugged on the carpet and a small hidden compartment opened up that gave him access to a small opening in the ceiling. Upon opening the hatch, he found nearly a dozen small ammo boxes that were filled with money. Not just a few dollars, but rolls and rolls of cash. Rather than keep the money for himself, he contacted the previous owners of the home to ask about the funds. As it would turn out, the previous owner of the home had passed away, but his children were still around. The children had no idea that the money had been hidden away, but they assumed that their father must have stored it there so that no one else in the family could find it. They weren't sure what he was saving all that money for, but the new owner of the home gladly handed the money over to them. In total, the man discovered $45,000. Number 2. Chair filled with diamonds. A couple from Scotland needed some new furniture for their home. Rather than spend hundreds of dollars on new furniture, they decided to head to an auction where they purchased an old chair for $5. They used the chair for several years before it began to wear out. Rather than throw the chair in the trash, they stored it in the attic for a later date. About 6 years passed by and the husband decided he would attempt to reupholster the chair. He began tearing away at the fabric and found that a pair of diamond earrings had been placed inside of the seat. He continued to scavenge through the chair and found a diamond brooch and a diamond ring as well. The couple had no idea why someone would have stored such valuable items in a chair, but they were certainly happy with their finding. They took the diamonds to an expert who gave them several $1,000s in return. In the end, this $5 chair netted them around $6,645 in profit. Number 3. Ferrari and Garage. Many years ago, a man purchased a new home in Wyoming. He had been searching for a new home to spend the remainder of his life in for quite some time and finally settled on a house that he had found for around $285,000. The house was quite nice, but nothing too necessarily to write home about. He began rummaging through some of the previous occupants' belongings and cleaning things up a bit before moving in. He made his way to the garage and discovered that an old car had been left behind. He didn't think much of it as he wasn't particularly interested in cars, nor did he have any real knowledge of antique cars. The vehicle was found to have been caked in an incredibly thick layer of dust, making it almost unrecognizable. As he peeled away the layer of dirt and grime, he revealed an astonishing emblem on the front of the grille that identified the car as a Ferrari. He was taken aback by the discovery, but also found that the car had been kept in immaculate condition. He contacted a local automotive expert who valued the car at over $500,000. In the end, due to the extremely high value of the car, this man essentially got his house for free after selling it. Number 4. House filled with gold. A man from France found out that he had inherited a new home from a family member who had passed away in Normandy. The man was somewhat unfamiliar with the home, but headed to the house to begin cleaning out his relative's belongings. He began inspecting the house and came across a box that had been fastened to a chair. Curious, he opened the box and found that it had been filled with solid gold coins. He was fascinated by the discovery and incredibly happy. Even though he had to spend time cleaning out his relative's home, he began to believe that the job may pay off after all. That's when he found a whiskey box that had also been filled with gold. He continued cleaning out the home and then found that there were several other boxes of gold hidden under furniture, in the bathroom, under stacks of clothes, and several other locations throughout the home. In total, he found around 5,000 pieces of gold, 37 ingots, 1 full kilo, and 2 bars that weighed 12 kilos each. In the end, his haul was estimated to be worth $3.7 million, and he didn't pay a dime for the home. The man soon found out that he would need to pay around 45% in taxes for the discovery, as well as 3 years of taxes that were due on the home. In the end, he is estimated to have still walked away with around $1 million for doing nothing more than cleaning out an old house. Number 5. Jeweled egg from flea market. Flea markets are a common place to find individuals who are looking to find some cheap knickknacks or are looking to relive the past by sorting through selections of old furniture or memorabilia. An American man headed to his local flea market and found a bizarre golden egg that was covered with fine jewels and had pearls placed inside of it. The man took a liking to the egg, and it appears as though he almost certainly knew what he had found. He spoke with the dealer and they settled on a price of $14,000 for the egg. The dealer felt as though he was lucky to get such a large amount of money for the egg, as he had simply just found it sitting on the kitchen counter of an old home in the Midwest. The dealer didn't really believe the egg was particularly valuable, aside from the fact it was covered in valuable gemstones. As it would turn out, the customer ended up taking the egg to an expert to have the egg, its jewels, and its contents assessed. The man walked away with an egg that was valued at a whopping $33 million and only paid $14,000 for it. Talk about a solid investment.
$500,000 in cash.
That's the spirit.
Number 6. Piano filled with money. A couple who owned a piano decided that they no longer needed the instrument and decided to donate it to a local school in Shropshire. The piano was said to have been 110 years old at the time, and it was removed from their home, and the school was excited to accept the item. After it arrived at the school, a staff member called a piano repairman to help tune the piano, as it had not been played in many years. The repairman began his work and found that several small bags had been lodged inside the piano, likely causing it to fall out of tune. He removed the bags and found that they were filled with antique coins. The repairman and the school contacted an individual to appraise the coins and found that they were worth around $640,000. Sadly, the previous owners were not entitled to any of the money, as the law dictates that all the funds were legally due to the school and the piano repairman. Certain reports of the story state that the school ended up returning a small portion of the funds to the original owners, but this has not been confirmed. As far as we know, the school and the piano repairman received a nice payout to the tune of $320,000 each. Number 7. Farmer finds 1,300-year-old rings. A small-town farmer from Staffordshire was outside using a metal detector in his backyard. His daughter had lost a valuable ring but was unable to find it. The man grabbed his equipment and began searching the perimeter. After searching for quite some time, he was unable to find the ring, but his metal detector began beeping a short distance away from where the ring was lost. He began to dig around and found a large bundle of rings, gold and silver, that had been buried in the yard. In total, he found about 1,500 total pieces of jewelry that dated back to the 7th century. It's unclear why the rings had been buried in the man's backyard or how they managed to remain in such amazing condition after all of this time. The items were cleaned and valued at $5 million, and it's safe to say that the man's daughter likely went out to the shop and bought a much nicer ring than the one she lost after making such an amazing discovery. Number 8. Largest opal matrix in the world. A man by the name of Stuart Hughes lived in Liverpool for much of his adult life. He and a group of friends decided to head out for a day of adventure at a nearby opal field. The field was open to the public, and guests are allowed to keep any opal stones or other gems they may find while digging in the field. Stuart was excavating a small patch of land when he happened to stumble across a very large rock. He unearthed the rock and found that it was a massive piece of opal that weighed around 25 pounds. The gem was valued at over $1 million and is considered to be the largest piece of opal matrix to have ever been discovered. This man's leisurely afternoon quickly turned into a fully stocked retirement fund. And be sure to subscribe so that you get to see more great videos just like this one.